Dear students, welcome to the second video lecture. As we saw in the last video lecture, apart from the external analysis, it is important to do an internal analysis, as resources and capabilities of the firm play an important role in determining firm's performance. Early proponents of resource-based view of firm took a static view of firm's resources and capabilities, as if they were always present. However, the subsequent generations of scholars started investigating how organizational capabilities originate and evolve over time. Secondly, some scholars asked, when the environment and industry change very quickly, why some firms are more likely to survive and perform well while others perish. They theorized that the successful firms have dynamic capabilities, or a set of capabilities that help them sense the environmental and industrial changes early and adapt them in terms of firms' strategy, organization, and resource base. Accordingly, we will study in this lecture two related themes. One, the capability life cycle, how the capabilities evolve over time, and second, the dynamic capabilities. Organizational capabilities originate and evolve in four stages. First, founding. Second, development. Third, maturity. And fourth, capability branching. Founding a capability is primarily a cognitive process. A group organizes around an objective to build a capability to transform some inputs into outputs. This group has certain initial endowment of human, social, and cognitive capital. Accordingly, the group determines what its opportunities are and what capabilities it needs to develop. Subsequently, the group acquires or builds the capabilities, further refines it, and improves it. Organizational learning plays a very important role in the development of capabilities. There are two types of learning processes. One is cumulative, in which the group learns from experiences it gains over time. The other is deliberate learning, in which the group learns from experimenting, generating and analyzing data, and articulating and codifying knowledge. Firms have unique histories and learning experiences, so they heterogeneously develop capabilities with own idiosyncrasies and varying success. Capabilities can be developed only to a certain extent, after which the development efforts and investments don't add to efficiency. At this stage, a capability is maintained in the organization through exercise. When exercised sufficiently, the capabilities get internalized as a tacit routine. For example, Apple's design capability has been internalized in the organizational routines and culture. Not all capabilities reach maturity and may get discarded before. The fourth stage is capability branching. If environmental or strategic changes make a capability obsolete, a firm may stop developing and using it. On the other hand, a firm may respond to opportunities and threats by renewing a capability, that is, by refining it into another direction. A firm can also replicate and redeploy its capabilities in new product or geographical market contexts. To illustrate this concept, let us take the example of traditional university teaching. Some universities have capabilities in teaching students effectively in large cohort sizes. It has long been a valuable capability. However, there have been some changes. First, emergence of digital platforms. Second, increasing demand of personalized education services. And third, these days, the COVID pandemic. In 2020, many universities have stopped deploying this capability. They are instead renewing it, that means developing in another direction, to teaching students in large virtual classrooms and small physical classrooms. Let me also give you an example of replicating and redeploying the capabilities. Universities like ours are leaders in distance education and executive MBA programs and have strong capabilities in developing education using online platforms. These universities aim to replicate and redeploy this capability in their regular graduate and undergraduate courses. So that was on capability development. Now let us try to understand what dynamic capability is. Dynamic capability is a highly influential field of strategy research, as it explains why certain incumbent firms survive technological changes and industry disruptions, whereas others fail to do so. For example, companies like Nokia, Motorola, Siemens, Ericsson, BlackBerry, all these failed when 3G telecom technology disrupted the mobile phone industry and smartphones emerged as the new dominant product. Samsung, on the other hand, survived the disruption and by early 2010s emerged as the global leader. So let us define dynamic capability. It is a firm's ability to integrate, build, and reconfigure its internal, that is organizational, and external resources, that is resources owned by other firms in its network, to address and shape the rapidly changing business environments. It means dynamic capability helps the firm not only adapt the disruption, but also benefit from it and lead the disruption. Dynamic capability of a firm has three elements. First, sensing the changes. Second, seizing the opportunities. And third, transforming its strategy, organization, resource base, and networks. Sensing refers to a firm's ability to identify and assess environmental changes and emerging opportunities. Managerial insight and vision play a key role in this whole process. Firms keep an eye on the market and technological developments, not only in their own but also related industries, especially on the basic research and product experimentations done by the non-traditional actors, which can be potential entrants. These firms analyze data to spot trends, anomalies, and patterns. To give you an example, many pharmaceutical firms closely track developments in biotechnology and genetics and research done by the university scientists. Seizing refers to a firm's ability to mobilize resources to capitalize on an opportunity and capture value. It implies allocating resources to experiment with new technologies and business models. Such firms proactively support corporate entrepreneurship or internal venturing. Seizing also implies creating an ecosystem with customers, suppliers, and complementors, and shaping their consumption and strategic choices. The last stage is transforming. If the radical new opportunities arise, or when nature of the focal industry has substantially changed, firms renew their strategy, restructure their organization, and develop, acquire, and reconfigure their resource base. In such conditions, firms enter new industries and exit the old ones. Firms also reshape their ecosystems and manage complementarities to adapt to new environment. Let me again give you an example from 3G, after which smartphones became the standard product and operating system became a key differentiator. Nokia, which was the market leader in 2009 to 2010-11, responded to these changes by acquiring Symbian, which was creating the operating system, and made it open source to create an ecosystem of application developers. That means complementers. Nokia had a joint venture with Siemens in a related telecommunications network industry. With its sales of mobile phones plummeting, Nokia renewed its strategy. It exited mobile phone industry and focused on the telecom network industry. Nokia sold its phone business to Microsoft and acquired Siemens' stake in the joint venture and renamed it Nokia Networks. In 2015, Nokia Networks further acquired Alcatel-Lucent, another telecommunications network company. Now a little bit about how firms pick early trends, adopt them, and disrupt the industry. One strategy is to deploy own organizational resources to create breakthrough innovations. Firms provide resources to projects on emerging technologies which are not core to them. This is what we call exploration. For example, you might have noticed that many banks have invested in the development of blockchain technologies as it has the potential to disrupt the industry. Companies like Google support moonshot projects, which are rather bold ideas with very low probability of very high success. Another strategy is to spot new technological developments. For this purpose, firms have R&D units in diverse clusters. For example, all major hardware companies have R&D centers in Shenzhen or Seoul, whereas all major software companies in the world have R&D centers in Silicon Valley. Firms also create teams to scout for and invest in promising ventures, working on new technologies. You must have noticed that all major technology firms, whether it is SoftBank or it is Nokia or Alibaba or Microsoft, all of these have their own corporate venture capital funds or CVC funds. Third, to promote seizing new opportunities and transforming the organization, firms promote both cooperation and competition in the organization. Samsung is a very good example, where different units engage in technology search and development in parallel. They also do dual sourcing. For example, Samsung Electronics may source processors not only from its semiconductors division, but also from other firms. So now that we have understood the importance of internal analysis for the formulation and implementation of firm strategy and understood the concepts of resources and capabilities, core competence, capability life cycle, and dynamic capability, let me ask you to watch this video documentary, Will Germany's Car Industry Survive? It is a DW documentary available on YouTube, and it talks about the challenges the German automobile companies face with the advent of electric cars. I want you to answer three questions. First, do German automakers face new opportunities and threats? Second, are they slow to respond? If yes, then why so? Third, how can they benefit from the opportunities, new opportunities, and respond to threats? Give your strategic recommendations. Well, that is it for this lecture, and see you in the WBS live class.